Y'all might be wondering why I'm in the bathtub with my cowboy hat on. And the truth is that there's no good reason. There is no esoteric secret to what I'm doing right now. I'm not doing anything fancy or anything special. I did this to fuck with you, to teach you a lesson. Because what's happening in the world right now is everybody is having a schizophrenic meltdown. And yeah, I'm using psychology words because we need to focus on psychology here for a little bit. We are shifting away from an age that was defined by reason, logic, cool rationality. And yeah, there was some stupid shit associated with that time. Like, for example, people generally denied the supernatural. They couldn't tap into any sort of magical current outside of the grounded mind or materiality. And so that was limiting for many people. And you had the rise of the new atheism. I'm not saying everything about the new atheism was bad, because it wasn't. But it was very limiting for a lot of people. And if you were going to tell somebody that you practiced tantric yoga at that time, during the age of the mind, the age of rationality, which we have left, if you're going to tell someone you practiced tantra yoga back then, they would just stare at you slack-jawed, thinking that you were some kind of lunatic, like you're just some, crazy hobo off the street who had done way too much acid.
California homosexual.
Yeah, California homosexual, if you will. But in the meantime, you need to understand something very important. That old order where the average person didn't believe in magic, it's gone. It's dead. We're not living in that time anymore. I have conversations with normal people who tell me, yeah, I've done Kundalini yoga, or yeah, I've seen ghosts, or yeah, I astral project every night. I do it for fun with my wife and cousin. Like, it's a new age. It really is. It's a new age. So things are going way out there. And people, average people, not just weirdos, not just people who would be reading something like Evola or the Lotus Sutra or something like that. I don't know. Whatever weird book you want to pick. Not just weirdos, but normal people are losing it. They're going way up in the space. They're all becoming space cadets. And
psychonauts.
They're all psychonauts. Do we need, is that okay for me to be doing that?
Molly.
He's digging.
Get out there. Get out of there, boy. He's in the law office. Aww. He said, Daddy, shut up. Get out of there.
He's busy.
We're trying to do a video. I mean, okay, hold on. Let me get back to my camera. Say anything. Anyway.
If you're wondering about the noise in the background, if you can hear it, it's because we allow our pet rats to roam freely in the bathroom while we soak in the tub. Now, back to my discussion on schizophrenia. So, the problem here is that we have all of these people exploring these ideas like Kundalini, but the people who are teaching them about Kundalini have no grounding in the mind, and they have no grounding in the material. They have launched themselves either through yoga without drugs, ascetic yoga, or heavy doses of psychedelics into the crown chakra, the sahasrara, or into the ajna, the third eye. They've launched themselves into what I call the death zone. Okay, so just to, as an aside, You should go watch some videos about people who've climbed Mount Everest. There's this area called the death zone on Mount Everest. And it's not just Everest. Any of these major mountains, they have these death zones, okay? If you don't have the right equipment or the right training by the time you get to that part of the mountain, you're probably going to die there. And most of the people who die on a mountain like Everest, they die within that zone. They don't have the right equipment. They don't have the right training. Well, the thing about Kundalini Yoga is this. We are metaphorically climbing the mountain, okay? The spine, the physical structure of our body, the actual physical spine, we can understand it metaphorically as a mountain. And the peak, underneath my cowboy hat, I have my peak right up here, the crown chakra, the Sahasrara, that's the top of the mountain. That's where we're headed in Kundalini Yoga when we practice something called Dakshinashara, the right-hand path, okay? So if you're not prepared, if you don't have the proper physical grounding, if you don't practice the proper physical yoga, and if you don't have the proper intellectual grounding, if you don't have the philosophical understanding, if you don't have a sound mind, if you are incapable of preventing yourself from roaming into the region of complete schizophrenic meltdown, you're going to end up stuck in the death zone. And most of the people in modernity who practice Kundalini end up in the death zone because they don't have a connection to Shakti, they don't have a connection to the Tamasic Guna, they don't have a connection to the Muladhara or the Svadhisthana, so they get trapped there. And this is becoming an even bigger problem now because, as I said, we have experienced a civilizational shift. We are no longer in the age of the Vishuddhi, the throat chakra, the mind. We're no longer in an intellectual age. We are now in a age of mysticism. We've gone to this location on the mountain. This right here, this is where the death zone starts, okay? If you're grounded here in the Vishuddhi, if you're grounded in the mind, then you can keep yourself from going too deep into the waters, all right? You still have some footing. You still have some grounding. Now, you can be too grounded there. That was the problem of the previous age. People were too in their minds. They couldn't ascend from that point. And they couldn't tap into the physical body so well because they were too in their mind. Now it's different. Now people are operating from right here. Culture is operating from right here. This is the third eye. This is the Ajna chakra. This is the beginning of the death zone, okay? So people are not prepared. They don't know what they're doing. They're being guided by irresponsible people who are giving them heavy psychedelics, sending them straight into the death zone with no training, no grounding, no equipment, no understanding of what they're doing. It would honestly be like taking your average Joe, putting him in some kind of super helicopter, taking him to the death zone on Mount Everest, and throwing his ass out into the snow. Okay? That's what's happening with not just the drugs, but also people being exposed to Kundalini Yoga by, for one, business sucks. People who just care about the money, they care about marketing Kundalini because it's a buzzword now and it's attractive, and they have overpriced Kundalini retreats you can go to where they're not going to teach you yogic philosophy. They're not going to prepare you. Kundalini, when it's practiced properly, takes about 6 months to a year to actually bring the Shakti force up to the Sahasrara without getting trapped. Now, you can blast off into the Sahasrara tomorrow. You could take DMT and blast off into the Sahasrara, but are you going to be able to contextualize your experience? Not unless you've done some hard work up until that point. And most people haven't done the hard work. Also, there are certain techniques you can utilize that don't require drugs where you can blast yourself off straight into the Sahasrara.
You need to talk about culture and how even if people are going to like Mexico or some shit to do like plant medicine, that yes, those people actually may know what they're doing and they have a cultural container which makes it possible for them to do successful rituals, but race does, despite what people want to believe, race does play a role and culture plays a role. And that's why when a lot of these people go and they do psychedelics, they end up converting to Christianity, because that's all they have in the main cultural narrative to describe the sensation of something like the clear light.
Well, you already put it perfectly, so just leave that part in the video.
Okay, well.
Because that's great. Yeah, what she said. That's right, what she said. Okay? The thing is, we're entering into an age where the material world is obscured for most people, and it's going to get worse because of artificial intelligence. It's going to get worse because of social media, the internet in general, but also the fact that people are living in a psychedelic stupor on a day-to-day basis, whether they're on the internet or not. So people are engaging with mysticism, okay? But this isn't a healthy engagement with mysticism. This is jumping straight into the deep waters of the occult with no lifeline.
No care for their physical body, drinking caffeine all day long, not exercising, fucking working all day long, not sleeping well, and then getting on their fucking Black Mirror phone and gazing into the abyss for fucking 3 hours at a time. Actually, that's quite the opposite thing that an occultist will tell you to do before you gaze into a black orb. They'll tell you to meditate.
You have to prepare your body for that experience. But most people are not prepared for that experience. Now, I've noticed, specifically since the Charlie Kirk incident, that people are losing their fucking minds. And a lot of people are turning to dogmatic religion as a response to this. Not just Christianity, religion in general, dogmatic religion. Now, what's the association between dogmatic religion and the third eye? Well, this is the place of mist, the tattva of mist, the element of mist. This is the place of mysticism, okay? Now, there was a time in human history called the Dark Ages where you had a sudden swing into dogmatic religion, specifically Christianity. And when this happened, the accumulated knowledge, most of the accumulated knowledge of the pagan world prior to that point in time was lost. People forgot how to do basic things. The glory of the Roman Empire was shattered. The logical progression of all of the development in science and medicine
and this also works on the self on an individual level as well.
That's a good point.
People will forget all of the books that they've read. They'll forget all of the spiritual practices that they've read because they're, being shown brain rot 24/7.
And they'll lose confidence in themselves. It's degenerative.
And they're also watching, going down conspiracy theory rabbit holes, which make them feel free. But little did they know, conspiracy theories are the perfect thing to prime them for cultural schizophrenia. The schizophrenia within which they exist now permanently. And they've been primed by things like fucking Joe Rogan. Because you can disagree with something, you can know that something is fake without obsessing over it. You can know that something's not right without spending 5 hours reading about it.
But it's just as people engaged in a heavy dose of mental masturbation in the prior age, where they would have bookshelves full of books that they either have read or they have pretend to have read, but there's a posturing because the culture is based around accumulation of data. It's different now. Now the culture is based around the accumulation of schizophrenic episodes. And
Chris Chan is the new god. Chris Chan has the greatest mythos of our age.
Thus spoke Chris Chan.
Yeah, Chris Chan is the new god. He is one of the most recorded people in history.
I think he is the most recorded. There's definitely more recorded about Chris Chan than Jesus Christ.
How did they treat that god? How did they treat that god? They abused his mental state. They abused his mental state and pushed him, his fragile psyche, into doing something that everybody knows is extremely rotten. But they wanted it to happen. Every single person that evil-eyed Chris Chan wanted him to fuck his mom. And you're all to blame. You all have the blood, the bodily fluids of Chris Chan and his mother on your sick, putrid little fingers. I can't fucking talk, dude.
Yes, you can. It's almost like Christian went through certain stations, you know, one station to the next, station to station, getting whipped and tormented and jeered at before finally he's posted in front of everyone to gawk at in his
our sacrificial lamb.
Magnificent sacrifice. Yeah, it's almost like that. Christ-chan. Anyway, we are in an age now where everybody seriously needs to cool it, okay? Cool it.
Hold on, sorry. Get out of there. No. All right, was there anything else that we need to talk about?
Yeah, I have some more to talk about.
Okay. Try to bring it to an end.
I'm going to. So, yeah, shooting this video inside of a bathtub with my cowboy hat on because I just felt like doing it. There's no deeper purpose. There's no conspiracy. There's not always a conspiracy, okay?
There's not always a meaning behind everything. I know you spent the past 5 years trying to find that meaning because you were trapped in the terror of existentialism, but there is no meaning behind this. It's just your psychic terror. If you're freaking out right now, it's just your psychic terror.
It is. Just
and the more you engage with it, the worse it's going to get. And a lot of people who have that psychic terror end up doing horrible things to themselves. And I hope that doesn't happen to you, dear viewer.
Basically, you just need to cool it, and you need to touch grass. You need to get outside.
Actually, for real though.
And touch grass. Go ride a horse. You ever ride a horse before? Or just like go for a walk. Walk through the forest. Remind yourself that you're an animal. You're not just a machine.
Talk to your annoying family members.
Even do that. And when you talk to them, try not to go full schizo on them, okay? Because we don't have to do that. It's not necessary. Now, I know that a lot of the work I'm going to be doing in the future, because I got to mention this, last thing I want to mention. When I started this school, it was during a time where there was a lot of talk about archetypes and metaphors in magic, and that was the big focus. And there was this big Jungian influence, okay, where we say, yeah, magic is real, but it's not real in the way that it would be in the Lord of the Rings. Well, I'm here to tell you that magic is real the way it is in the Lord of the Rings. It is, okay? And I've made plenty of videos about that. You don't have to take my word for it. You can explore it yourself. If you have the aptitude, you'll find out for yourself. But now I need to deliver another message, and that is, maybe it's time for you, if you're getting into that space where you can't tell the material reality from the conceptual reality, if you're getting into that space, maybe it's time to revisit Jung. Maybe it's time to revisit...
no, bitch, don't revisit Jung. Go to Freud.
Go to Freud. That's what I was about to say.
Don't go to Jung. Jung is leading you to the same place. Go read Arthur Yanov. You know the guy who wrote Primal Scream? Please go read that. Please put the Jung down. Please, you don't need the fucking needle. Please. Sorry, Skylar.
Forever
I get
young.
your point. I get your point.
I
Sing
want
them
to
a song.
read forever young. Do you really want to read forever? Forever, forever, forever young. I want to read forever young.
All right.
Like
Yeah, that was good.
Great.
Is that going to be on your new album?
Oh yeah, I am going to put Forever Young on there.
Right next to Old
Certainly.
Ugly Lawyer, Stupid Bitch.
Old ugly lawyer bitch. And your kid is a rapist.